Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So my topic is reconstruction of Maqasid Sharia. Okay, my topic is reconstruction of Maqasid Sharia, a critical analysis on Josrada's system approach. So, do you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you are audible and your screen is visible as well.
Okay,
So you can continue.
okay. In this, I want to briefly analyze, critically analyze the Josrada's system approach. As we know, Josrada is one of the prominent thinkers on Maqasid Sharia. So at first, I just have methodology. My research work is based on library research and just Rauda's primary book, Islamic law system approach. And firstly, it means maqsad, the uh, intention or purpose. And Sharia means Islamic law. So it is traditionally it is accepted as three parts. One is Tahsiniyat and Daruriyat and Hajiyat. And Daruriyat is divided to five types: Ad-Din, Al-Nafs, Al-Nasl, Al-Aql, and and Al-Wealth, Al-Mal. So all of these are the primary law, the primary purposes of Islamic laws. So the primary, the fundamental intention of the the Sharia is to protect all these five factors. But uh, prominent traditional Maqasid scholars are Al-Jubayni, Al-Ghazali, Ibn Abd salam Al-Amidi, Al-Shatibi. All of these are prominent scholars who propounded the concept of Maqasid Sharia from the early sources. And Al-Ghazali, Al-Shatibi have systematized this Maqasid Sharia into these five disciplines, five perspectives. So, one of the problems that has regarding the traditional interpretation of Maqasid Sharia is as uh, as obtained as argued by modern scholars is it is limitation. It is mostly limited to five dimensions that cannot be that can overcome or that can uh, that can not overlap these five dimensions. So, considering this, the modern scholars have proposed a a system that is more adaptive to the contemporary ethical dimensions like justice and human rights, freedom, dignity, and environmental ethics. So, the prominent contemporary scholars like Jasser Oda, Yusuf al-Qaradawi, Hashim Kamali, bin Ashur, and Abdul bin Abaya, all of these have proposed a new perspective on Maqas Sharia. So, according to them, Maqas Sharia is interpreted into three as general Maqasid, special Maqasid, and partial Maqasid. So, the general Maqasid is it is it encompasses justice and convenience, mercy, human welfare. All of these are come under general maqasid, which is broad. A special maqasid retains uh, that consists of the ordinary maqasid is just limited to uh, some individuals, but in the case of the modern interpretation, it also encompasses the individuals, families, and communities. And thirdly, partial maqasid. It propounds for the in fasting for the in witness feeding the poor and such like uh, aims of the legal procedures. So these are the just I just introduced what is the concept of modern interpretation. So also Jasrauda is based on this, and Jasrauda, as we know, is a Canadian scholar, and he has attained the PhD in philosophy from Islam from the University of Wales and associate professor at the Faculty of Islamic Studies at Qatar University. and he is one of the active members in Maqasid Research Center. He is the author of the famous book Maqasidia as Philosophy of Islamic Law. He redefined the concept of Maqasidia into a postmodern approach. It is just more than just telling all these five things, five core concepts. He propounded about the relation, connection of all these matters, uh, all the uh, uh, matters, all these concepts. So, according to him, Jasroda's approach is it is a holistic method of interpreting Islamic law. That means elements are interconnected. All of the world order is interconnected, dynamic and purpose driven, and there is it changes. It is dynamic. It changes according to the context. That is what Jasroda propounds, and its implications include uh, classical. He says that the classical Islamic methodologies are mostly reductionist, rigid, and literal. So he proposed here a reformist, a multidimensional, and that can be uh, more expanded to other dimensions. So that is what is the core idea or aim of system approach. And these are the primary critiques laid out by Jason Oda against the ordinary McCoster theory. They are overly general, too individual-centered, and lacks universal values, and justly they are text dependent. So, as a alternative for this, he proposed this concept of McCoster theory. So, uh, according to him, he says that there is a wisdom behind law. There is a uh, wisdom behind law, and every Sharia ruling must reflect justice, mercy, wisdom, and public benefit. And secondly, he says there is a good and objective. And thirdly, moral and divine foundation. And finally, maslaha is the core of a maqasid. So everywhere we see the maslaha, the practice of maslaha is the core of every maqsad. And there are six things that are they propounded of six principles of some approach: cognitive nature, oneness, multidimensionality, wholeness means that is more holistic approach. He proposed a holistic approach and interrelate the hierarchies and every there we in traditional Maqas theory we have a hierarchy. First, ilm al-din, hifzuddin, hifzul mal, hifzuddin first, and hifzuddin I don't remember. There's an order. Firstly, priorities, but here he proposes that all of them are interconnected. There is no hierarchy for a purpose, for a factor. That is what he propounded. And finally, there's a purpose for every maqasid aspect. So for every Islamic law that we see, there is a purpose, and we can adjust. And he also says that we can adjust the contemporary laws in regarding the contemporary order. So it is more not rigid; it is flexible. That is what he proposes through his theory. And this is one of the main the four fundamental some of the fundamental framework of his analysis: theory analysis, cognitive nature, system analysis, open system, and he also uses categorizes to group scattered ideas into clear parts. So all of these are his ideas. His the analysis of his framework, his six principled framework. So the main aim of Nasroda's main aim of to one of the main motivation behind proposing this concept is uh, one is terrorism. There are several problems that are given that have been done in the name of Islamic law, and also, as we know, law implement in HDA in Muslim majority countries. So these things, in fact, have motivated him to find to redefine, reconstruct the concept of Makassaria. So here he fulfilled the Makassaria by promoting justice, moral behavior, and social dignity. So these are primary uh, the primary conceptions of the concept of Makassaria system applied through Joseph order system approach. So in modern times, we apply the principles of the system approach of Mahacharya in legal reforms in family law and Islamic education, psychology, and ethical consideration, artificial intelligence. All of these are just a part of just a part where we apply the systems theory in modern context. And this is his book. Just I have given the photo, his photo, and his books. The system approach. This book is very famous, and it has been published in note 2 double note 8. And what are the strengths of his approach? One is it is a holistic integration. It integrates ethical, social, and economic perspective for the comprehensive understanding of Sharia. So, in contrast to the traditional approach towards Sharia, it only integrates all the values that needs to be for an Islamic law. And secondly, there is an interdisciplinary connectivity. Merge systems theory with classical Islamic theory. He also connects with the traditional theory of Muqassidiya. And it is dynamic adaptability, it is flexible, and it has a purposefulness, justice, justice, equality, welfare. So he primarily uh, he he put more important, he shows more importance towards the world order, not just the rigidity. And so he says that the laws can be dynamic, the laws can be changed according to the needs of the society. So that is what he says through his system approach. And but the weaknesses that is the complexity. It has complex something as we hear this, we feel it sometimes complex. How can we do this? How can we interconnect both the alternate theory and modern theory? And also it violates the kind of the traditional theory of Assyria. And it is not as he says, it is not uh, you you cannot interpret the systems theory in proper way as he says. And thirdly, the theoretical aspect of his the system theory theoretical aspect is very established, but still we cannot we cannot establish this in practice. We cannot bring this concept into practice because it has so many limitations, it has so many uh, limitations, and very sometimes looks very in terms of its application. So these are mainly the problems, the weakness of system approach. And now let's compare between the traditional approach and order system approach. Firstly, traditionalist versus static literal interpretation of text, but uh, Auda's approach advocates for dynamic and holistic approach. And secondly, uh, the traditional approach is more relied on textual analysis, while Auda's theory is cognitive trace and it is multidimensional. And traditional approach is disciplined, while Auda's approach is mostly promotes knowledge integration and with a system perspective. And fourthly, uh, the traditional approaches has traditional dogma. Sometimes it may be there are some limitations according with the traditional approach. We cannot expand the concept of traditional Acharya like entire to the entire values. This is limited to 5 dimensions. While Auda system approach is requires very constraints covers all the values that are found in modern days. And finally, the traditional system is concerned with individual rights, not just collective, not just community. But our approach is collective human development, emphasizes collective human development. So such like differences we can see in the Auda system approach. So these are the primary notes that I can give on the system approach by uh, Auda's approach. So is there any doubt for the listeners?